had the pleasure of interviewing William a couple weeks ago in preparation for this conference. And William is fascinating, as you're going to find out for yourself. He has learned how to already transcend all of the lower human vibrational frequencies. He helps other people to do so. He came into a body that, was kind of like mine. It was in a very sick state of being, but I'm going to let him tell you that story himself. I see he's up with us right now. So hi, William, how are you?
How are you, my good friend?
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much for being here with us. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to you.
Okay, and I have myself and Michael Connell here. He's a good friend of ours that works with Universalis from Joyful Evolution. And my walk-in story, it's kind of an interesting one as well. My body went in for what I call the old will, went in for a gastric bypass procedure, and on December 20th, 1996. And what happened on the surgery table is that the old will, as per agreement 6 months prior, decided to make a full transition, stepping out of the body. I assisted him to make a full transition. And now that was when I came into the body. And I remember so poignantly, the sunset that evening when I woke up. I first opened my eyes in a body, which is kind of odd as it goes, but seeing the most beautiful sunset, the most serene sort of sunset going from the hospital out to the oceanic realms. And it was like a welcome to the planet sort of scenario. Now, at first, was I wide awake, fully alert? No. That was a gradual unfoldment and becoming of itself. So here I am looking out this window, and then here comes the family monad of the old will. Mother, sister, brother, partner at that time, and so forth and so forth. Even the offspring at that time say, hey, how are you doing, Will? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? It's like, it was the most oddest thing because I knew all of their names. I knew what parts they played, but there was no vibrational resonance whatsoever. It was a whole different journey because I knew who they were. I knew their names, what parts they played, but yet there was no, what I would call emotional or even carnality attribute with any of the above. So I say, hello, Mrs. Linville. Hello, other Mrs. Linville. Hello, siblings. Hello, offsprings, and so forth. And it was the most oddest thing because as one thing led to another, I ended up leaving the hospital several days later to go into the old will live stream. So the father, the partner, husband, whatever you want to call it. Now, taking on the old belief systems of the old will, which was really, really raised with a lot of Christianity, on and on and on, stuff that really, for myself personally, made no sense whatsoever. Because it's like, well, I remember Sananda, or Yeshua ben Joseph, Jesus, however you want to call it. Sananda I use because that was his celestial name. That's the celestial Christ consciousness that he emanated through himself. But then day after day went on, and all of a sudden my body started shutting down. From the ability to walk, to all the myelin sheath being eaten away, to extreme pain, to extreme nerve pain, and the pain from the nerves with the burnt nerves eating themselves away as the body began to close down, then going into a wheelchair for 2.5 years, as well as temporary blindness. And then the blindness came in just due to the body not being able to take in nutrients any longer. And it was the most interesting journey, Sheila, because it was one shutdown over after another shutdown. And as all the shutdowns were occurring, I kept hearing this voice: all is well, all is well, all is well. And dear brother, all is well. All's going to be fine. Now over here, medically speaking, scientifically speaking, it's like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? We've never seen this before. So what we're going to do to try to assist with the pain was put in a duragesic pain pump. And also fentanyl, sufentanil patches to try to take in codeine number 4, on and on and on. And then none of the morphine, none of all that stuff works. So that went into a whole different journey. And they said, we know we're doing an experiment right over here at this hospital in La Jolla. So therefore, what we're going to do is we're going to put you in that hospital. We're going to see if we can inject your Durgiesic pain pump, which it was about like that round, this thick with a tiny little hole. So each week I would go to have them program it, and they would stick a needle into my abdomen, trying to poke around to find the hole, which, you know, everyone does the best they can with what they have. So that took place. And then from there, one thing led to another until I would say, hi, my name is Will. Hi, my name is Will. Hi, how are you doing? My name is Will. Several different times without even realizing that I said it once. So basically, when I look at it, it's like the brain was fried. So now, after the eight different death sentences that I was given, as I call it, there's nothing more we can do for you. We can send you to Houston, get a PET scan, on and on and on, says the scientist. But one day, a neighbor came over and said, you know, I have this friend where I used to live. I don't know, she could be a little bit kooky, but I'm going to introduce you. So she gave me the number and I made an appointment. And sure enough, here I show up at this woman's front door in my wheelchair. And she handled herself so lovely. Her name was Dale Sutton. And she was an energy worker. And lo and behold, she tried and started to explain to me that I was a walk-in. That was her level of consciousnness at that time. And then we got to energy work. We played The Heart of Reiki by Merlin's Magic. And I laid there on the floor, and within 6 weeks later, with her hand being right here on my forehead and the back of my head, the body turned the corner and I was able to walk again. Now, it was the most amazing journey. And at that time, I was like, what the heck just happened? I mean, here I am. No wonder I feel the way I feel about all these ones called the family monad. So in the family monad, to break that down, here we have myself, or so we'll just say my body. And then we have this over here, siblings. Over here, we have parents. Over here, we have wife, etc. Or hello, etc. And from there, I started questioning this. What does the F word really mean? It's a 5-letter word. It begins with F, called family. Because family to me is all the humanity in the wholeness of consciousness. All the humanity at your higher levels, as each and every facet of divinity, mirroring, not so much mirroring anymore, but glistening together. Now, this tier one had all of their crustaceans. I'll just say crustaceans being that of levels of separation. So with these one, dear ones, those dear ones, on and on and on. And so I started questioning it all. And then something that appeared was past lives. I went into past lives, laying in bed for over 2 weeks. The body, not me, but the body was sobbing. And the body was sobbing for 2 weeks straight, going into one dimension after another dimension after another dimension. One was the vows, contracts, and agreements with the ex-partner. What brought them together in the first place? And their incarnational journeys. Got attacked, this body, hypothetically, the old Will factory got attacked by polar bears. She went to get help. She died in the snow. And then he ended up dying, she ended up dying. And that was part of their agreement to pick up the body again, but this time to find their way into each other's life streams so they could be together, connect together. And how much love was involved in that, right? With the ex-partnership, with the ex-partner going out to try to seek help, putting her own life on the line, and her perishing, same with the old Will perishing. But still, they were still at that time inner growth and playing in the karmic lattice work. Then you go with the siblings, that the same engrossment, just with different journeys. One was, I guess you would call it kind of a pirate. Another one was a higher up in the military, and both of them had the old Will disposed of. Then the mother that was incarnationally very, very conditional, but she looked like the queen that had the body beheaded. And all these karmic journeys that the old will had experienced, that I had the great pleasure and great honor of reliving. And the reason I bring this up is because what was really going on with the body is that one thing was presenting, another thing was presenting, another thing was presenting to deteriorate all the physical, mental, emotional, genetic, and DNA makeup, cellular vibratory level makeup, molecular makeups that were dying off, dying off, dying off. And lo and behold, each one that died off made more and more room for me to come in and to come through, to be able to integrate through this body, but also clearing the decks as per agreed upon in the first place. Now, as that took place, I can't say, whee, that was a blast. It was on one hand, but on the other hand, it was very passionate, very intense, all the way to the wheelchair, to the handicap vans, all the way to there's nothing more we can do for you. So when I attribute to all that, even wearing diapers for those 2.5 years and plus, it was like I had control of nothing. Not the mind, not the body, not the world, not the handicap van, not any of the above, which I still find it kind of a blessing, but ironic to be given a handicap van when the brain was fried. I mean, don't walk on the sidewalk, okay? And now from here, it was kind of ironic, but hey, bless them all for doing the best they could with what they had. And then what started happening after those 2 weeks of intense sobbing, literally in a fetal position on a bed, not woe was me, but the body was shutting down to get to a point where it was flatline after after the body dying about 6 different times, cardiac arrest, blah, blah, blah. It finally hit that flat line. It made room for myself to further come in. So to illustrate this, it was like step number 1. Here's the body. Step number 1, let me change colors here. Step number 1 came the surgery. They created a tiny pinhole of consciousness for me to come in, get the heart beating again. Then step number 2 was to clear out all of the resonating debris from the inside, from the solar plexus technically, out of the system. Subtle bodies, mental bodies, emotional bodies, and all the different levels, pain bodies, obviously, on and on and on. So when I started moving in, the body's gonna die, on and on, that's more we can do. It's the interestingest thing. And it still amazes me, right? There was no panic. It was like, all right. So I dropped the body and go play elsewhere and pick up another one. Now, I say that very coyish, but at the time it didn't seem so coy. And then what happened after there, the body's gonna die or deteriorate. And then what would happen is the next levels, once I accepted that, it's like, all right, well, what am I gonna do? I can't move, I can't run, I can't make a run for it. No drugs are helping, no drugs are working. So, okay, this level collapsed. And then the next levels came forth. What about this? What about that? What about everyone else? What are they gonna do? Blah, 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 from the old will perspective. Then of course, that died off. And each and every level here is kind of interesting now that I look at it. From the third eye to the throat, through the heart, through the solar plexus, all the way through your crater chakra level vortex, and then the root chakra level vortex. Well, in the crown that kept opening and opening with intense head pressure at that time. Each level, it jumped all the way down to here to the carnal levels, which I'll put in arrow, carnal, survival. Then that depleted and there was no longer a hole. So the carnal levels dissolved. Then we go into your crater chakra level vortex. And the crater circular vortex, that started to dissolve due to what I would call, at this point, surrender. And then that collapsed. Then it came all the way back up to the heart. Well, to the root and then the heart, due to the surrender of, okay, I accept what is. I'm not saying I'm gonna die, I'm not saying I'm gonna live. Actually, I'm not saying anything at that point, except, show me. And I kept hearing that voice. All is well, all is well, all is well. And I kept hearing it. And it's like, okay, sounds good. Doesn't make any logical common sense at all, not even emotional common sense at all. But then eventually we got to the heart. After the third eye opened up, but everything was scattered because I had no longer any true logical, mental, emotional, or physical identity. And then that dissolved. And to back that up for a minute, the moment that dissolved was when, for some odd reason, I was asked to watch children in a swimming pool in my wheelchair with extreme pain. Can hardly see, but I guess an adult, and that's kind of a stretch for myself to call me an adult. But from, as long as there was an adult there, all was well. But then one kid was like this deep in water and their head only came to here. They were looking up with their arms up. I'll never forget that. They were looking right at me like I'm supposed to do something. So what I did is I rolled into the swimming pool, fell to the bottom, holding the child up above water, not knowing if anyone was going to come or not. I just knew all I could do was hold the kid above water. Now, that was the full breakdown of the mind. To where now there's not a mind body, even the aura went through such a beautiful disillusionment. And funny enough, oddly enough, I was sitting by the pool doing my best to try to read a crayon book. It was the funniest thing, right? Talk about ironicness. But that was before I got up and started walking, obviously. But it's interesting, right? So here I gave of my soul, my life, my work, my wealth, my mind, my body, my world to the divine, or I call it the divine/universe. Then what started happening, practically speaking, I kept hearing another voice. After that was all said and done, and what happened was the father of that child ended up jumping the fence, grabbing the child, then jumping in and pulling my body above water. And it seemed like it took for eternity, probably, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 minutes, whatever it took. But it was the most interesting thing, right? To give of your soul, your life, your work, your wealth, your mind, your body, your world, all for the purity of that child. It wasn't a thought. It was an instantaneous impulse. It wasn't a sacrifice. I wasn't giving my life for theirs. None of that crossed through my consciousness. Now, you say good will, bad will, blah, blah, blah. Let's skip will. It's not about will. It was about the infinite, intimate creator consciousness that oversaw that whole thing, including bringing the father to jump over the fence at the swimming pool where they used to live, at the handicap home, and on and on and on, to save his own child, but also to get my body out of the water. Now, that was the most, out of everything I just shared with you, that was the most profound experience that I would never, ever change for anything. That feeling, that embodiment, the beginning of the embodiment, of the practical embodiment of your divine self. My divine self, the rest of myself took over. I could sit there and say, what the heck are you doing, man? You can't swim. You're not going to float. The chair is going to hold you down. So what the heck are you doing, man? And then, survival of the fittest, blah, 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 blah. That would all be in the headspace. But my embodiment of my divine self totally, thoroughly took over, steered the body, journeyed the body to the bottom of that pool, even reached out and grabbed the parent of that child, gave a thought form to them and an impulse to come jump over the fence, to grab their child, and to grab my body. Now, I say that because surrender is not giving up. Who are you surrendering to anyways? What are you surrendering to? Many don't like that term when it comes to empowerment, because many get confused with empowerment being more and more about control. Now you go beyond control for a moment, like I'm creator, I have all this power, blah, 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 blah. And I don't want to demean that. Hey, if that's where you are, more power to you. I don't mean anything by that. But whatever happened to the true power of love? Because that's where your true power is. It's not ego. It's not mental. It's not cognitive. It's you as a being. So from here, the part that keeps your heart beating, the part that exists in between your thoughts, the part that's keeping your whole body mobilized. It's a part of yourself. Don't get me incorrect. But yeah, now we get to this point where we're playing with an embodiment of your divine self. And it's kind of cool, right? Because now there's your body. Here we have you, right here. This is the whole point of the aura. You are that aura that emanates through your flesh and blood, emanates through the skin. Now, that's you. That's you as divinity, beyond all the personal identifications with the exponential world. So let's get back to that voice. Everyone has it. It wasn't just special for myself because I walked into a body. All is well, all is well, all is well. Analytically, it didn't look too well. Emotionally, it definitely didn't look well. But here now, we start connecting with the whole universe here, above you, coming all the way through your physical form. Say, hey, we got you covered, got you covered, got you covered. Listen to your voice now. It's loving, it's gentle, it's embracing. Listen to your voice now. It's not harsh. It's not going to call you names. It's not going to say, I told you. It's not going to say, okay, like a magnifying glass burning off the legs of an ant. Your voice is called love. Or let's change that. Let's call your voice the voice of light. Because that right there is the truth of the matter. And what happens, that voice comes right through your crown, through your third eye, through your throat, through your solar plexus and your heart, through your crater chakra level vortex, all the way down your legs, through your arms. Because this goes back to show, I mean, what happens when you're a child and your mother picks you up after you skinned your knee or bumped your head or whatever you did? It's, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. They kiss your wound. That's another form of energy work. They're bringing forth that love and compassion to help heal your body. Now, that's a fact. We can argue it to the end of humanity, but it's still a fact. It's called energy work. It doesn't have the same ring as like Reiki, Reiki master, complete cellular mind-body alignment, complete cellular soul memory clearing. It has a whole different thing, but you're doing the same thing. You're doing energy work, and all of a sudden your kid looks up and they're feeling better. That's a miracle in itself, but it's a reality. Was it because you needed another's attention? No. Your loving mom or dad, brother, sister, cousin, uncle Bob, Bob's your uncle, puts her hands upon you, embraces you. Can you feel the wholeness of the whole universe coming in and coming through to further fully embrace you? But right here, right now, you are that you are. Now, what would happen for yourself if now we accept all of that to be what it is, the truth of what it is, the all that is? There's only one judging. It's called the ego. That's what gives the ego life. It's what gives it energy. It's what lets it run you amok. But what if we lived our life in that same state? All is well. And there's another cliche that goes with that. A very powerful but yet important one. It is not about, I need to fix my B a little bit. It's not about me. You go to work, your boss says, rah, 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 rah. Great. Just stop, take a breath before you decide to cringe and go back through the solar plexus, through the craniosacral vortex, and before we decide to walk away and live in fear. It is not about me. I gotta fix that B real quick. Bees are a beautiful thing. It's not about me. The AB, like AB normal, because now you're stepping out of the mass collective thoughts of consciousness. So now you kind of get to decide what's true. Is it that's a whack job? Or is it humanity that has issues? So we come back again, just saying to ourselves right now, your mother wants blah, 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 blah. She says you're rah, rah, rah. Your partner says rah, 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 rah. They're over there saying rah, 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 rah. You get funny looks at the grocery store, rah, 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 rah. Let's stop for a minute. Take a nice, slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold right down here below your abdomen. Exhaling as slow as you can through the mouth. And repeating to yourself for a moment. It is not about me. Because the reality, the truth of the matter is, as much as the ego wants to tell you otherwise, nothing is about yourself. It's ego versus ego, fear versus fear, conflict, struggles, constructs. But isn't it interesting? And especially, and I challenge this with the ego right now, for yourself. I'm a walk-in. Okay, fair enough. So what? So are you. Everyone's walked into their body at one point on this journey. Some through the womb, some through their life stream, some through car accidents, for myself, surgery. And I have to tell you, I mean, clearing out all the wheel stuff was not an easy job. And since he was over 425 pounds, and something tells me somewhere there was issues involved. Now from here, let's just take a breath. It's not about me.
Well, it really strikes me how on your journey of practically embodying your divine self is what strikes me about what you were sharing is you didn't identify with any of this.
No.
And is that the key?
Well, what is there? Let me ask you, Michael, what is there to actually practicalize, to identify with?
Well, it is very easy to identify with your experience. Like if you come into, if you all of a sudden come into the body and you like you did, and you had all these experiences.
Yeah, but then you just nipped it. They're only experiences. But what else were you going to say?
No, that's what it could be very easy just for the mind to start identifying as this is me.
And you can go right back into pretending like you're playing on a karmic lattice work. Woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. You're a bully, woe is me. But why are they a bully? This is where we want to follow it all the way to its source. Are they bullied just because nothing else to do on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon? Or are they a bully just because they want to flaunt their power, blah, blah, blah. It's all falsity power anyways. So now let's follow that bully for a minute. Doesn't matter, bullies are bullies. It could be an employer, it could be the government, it could be your childhood best friend, it could be one of those kids that tried to beat you up on the playground. What is a bully? Let's really go into them for a moment. So right now, let's play a game with it. Let's stand right here. Let's bring the bully right in front of you, whatever it may be for you. I want you to step out of your shoes. I want you to walk right behind them. I want you to step into their shoes and see yourself. They will allow you to, because it's about assistance, not about judgment. It's not anything we receive. It's not about putting them down. It's about your freedom. And of course, it's about their freedom. So let's look out their eyes from their shoes. Let's just ask them, why are you a bully? Why, let's even go further. Why are you treating me this way? What are you afraid of? Why are you so scared? What's going on at home? What's going on through your live stream? Why do you feel so fearful? Why do you feel so afraid? Why do you feel so terrified? Why do you feel like you got to force yourself to pick on others smaller than you, or even the same size, so you can feel validated within your own flesh? Where's that pain coming from? Is it your dad mistreating you? Are you being talked down to? Or being abused? You feel a lack of love, like you only exist and you only talk to you when someone's yelling at you. What is really going on here? Are you trying so hard to prove to me that you're more than? You must be feeling very, very insecure about yourself. You must be trembling inside, which you can tell because right now you're looking out their eyes back at yourself. You can see the pocket of fear. You can see all that stuff playing out for them. Now let's step out of their shoes. Coming back behind your shoes, right in your shoes. Now, how do you feel about that perceivable bully? Not feeling sorry for, no empathy, no sympathy, because those are energetic games that are going to take you south every time. Let's bring it up through the heart level of compassion, where that scared little boy or girl, whatever it may be for you, that's running around, look, trying to find something to feel like they have some sort of power over something. You happen to be on their radar. But once again, let's take another breath. That's not about me. That's nothing to do with me. So now, just for clarity, we never left our body. What we did was that, let me change colors here for a minute. We never left our body. We brought a dear one forward. We expanded exponentially all around them to see and to bring all of this to closure, completion. We didn't bring there as, ooh, I'm afraid. We went and we addressed the fear. Now we walk back around to your shoes. Welcome back all of your power now, cleared and purified. Welcome back all your soul fragmentations right here, right now, cleared and purified. Within your highest and best good and for the highest and best good of all concerned. Now, days speaking, since around 87-ish, now we're playing with indigos, crystalline offsprings. We're playing with double indigos. We're playing with hybrids. We're playing with all sorts of a new evolving evolution of the consciousness of brother humanity. And I do have to say, the new evolution of the physical makeup as well. Because you as creator, you're welcoming all of your facets home. So you're welcoming forth everyone home, not bad, good, or indifferent. Creator doesn't see Hitler any more different than they see Jesus. It's both the same. They see a facet of itself that they're welcoming home with no judgment, but a total, I'll call it open heart, not that creator has a heart, because creator's not human. The only time you have a body is when you're in human form. And when you're on Pleiadian forms, when you're on Orion, when you're in the Delta and everything else, and through the whole universe, yeah, you have a majestic amount of forms. But you as creator that created those forms, many want to judge the reptilians. Ooh, well, what is that except a reptilian form that looks different than yourself? What is there to fear? I remember waking up one morning when I was living at a room for rent. And up here in the corner above my bed, yeah, I saw a reptilian. Now, it's so easy, like you were saying, Michael, to pull in, go into fear. Oh my goodness, the mothership's coming. But from here, it only feeds off your fear. If you're not afraid, it has no power. As a reptilian's in the government, blah, 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 who cares? It only feeds on your fear. If you're not afraid of government, I don't really find a reason to be afraid of government because I haven't done anything incorrect. I haven't stolen from my brother, took their wife, and blah, 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 blah. Now, it's an interesting one because now we get back to all is well. And your light bodies, your creator consciousness. And now, let's all do an exercise together. It's kind of an exercise / activation where we're able to move together, play together, but also commune and connect together. It doesn't matter where you're at in a body on a planet, you are still creator. So right now, let's all just bring your consciousness, even for many, let's just use your hand. Let's bring your consciousness right through your heart. And as we do, let's just connect right there. Inhaling through your nose for the count of 12. Oh, for the count of 12, right down in your breadbasket, per se, in your crater circle vortex. Hold for 12, and now let's, as slow as you can. Well, first, let's have a deep sigh. A deep sigh. Releasing absolutely everything that at one time used to control you, dominate you, and hold you very tightly in the world. Because everything's outside of you, any way you look at it. Even you're outside the body. You're in the body, but the body is separate than you. Same with the mind, same with the thoughts. Now, let's just go right here. As we just hold right here, right now. Let's take another inhale for 12, hold for 12, exhale for 12 through the mouth, just as slow as you can, like you're trying to gently blow out a candle. Let's bring your consciousness through your heart, letting your heart open up front, middle, and back. And now going from your heart up through your sternum, up through your throat, front, middle, and back, all the way up through your third eye, front, middle, and back. All the way through your third eye, front, middle, and back, through the frontal lobe of the brain, the midbrain, the back of the brain, right and left sides of the brain. All the way through the crown chakra level vortex, all the way up through the mass collective thought forms, all the way through the astral planes of consciousness, all the way to the sun. Let's just hold right there at the sun. Just feeling that warmth, feeling that embracement. It'll stay there until your eyes begin to flicker. That's you going into the theta brainwave, which is where you're going into pure manifestation. Mother, Father, God, creator of all that is, I command blah, blah, blah. Or I command a healing for this body, a regeneration of this body. But it's you. It's your creator consciousness right now. Now, let's go beyond the sun, all the way throughout the whole universe, into, within, and through your central sun intelligence. Let's just let ourselves be there. Let's let us right now just be fully, thoroughly embraced, like we're floating on your back in the most gorgeous, beautiful, serene, oceanic realms. No worries, no concerns. Right now, the oceanic realm would be technically the whole universe right now, holding you, caressing you, embracing you. With just more and more and more ease, benevolence, and grace. Where from here, you're totally available and receptive to all that is. And now let's bring a stream of that consciousness from your central sun intelligence all the way down through the universe, through the physical sun. Let's just hold there once again, gathering momentum. And now, going from the physical sun through the astral planes of consciousness, the cosmic lattice work, the mass collective consciousness, all the way down into, within, and through, and about 78 feet in diameter through the crown chakra level vortex, down through the third eye, the frontal lobe of the brain, the midbrain, the back of the brain, the right and left sides of the brain, all the way down into, within, and through the front, the middle, and the back of the throat, through the sternum, down through your upper arms, lower arms, into the chakra level vortexes in the palms of your hands, all the way down through your sternum, your heart chakra level vortex, front, middle, and back. All the way now through the solar plexus realms, the physical realms, because that's where the physical starts, is through the solar plexus chakra level vortex, front, middle, and back. Taking another breath, inhale for 12 into the nose, hold for 12 in the creator chakra vortex, and exhaling for 12 through your mouth. Like you're once again trying to blow out a beautiful tea light candle. And now bringing it all the way down into, within, and through your lumbar vertebrae, your thoracic vertebrae, cervical vertebrae, but your lumbar, your sacrum, your coccyx, through the navel, into, within, and through your creator chakra level vortex. Once again, front, middle, and back. Now coming all the way down through the pelvic girdle. Now through the gender principle. But right now, let's all admire that the gender principle right now, there's two different pathways to urinate standing up or sitting down. It's no more, no less. It's only an organ. Doesn't separate you from the divine male or the divine feminine. It's only plumbing. So now let's take our consciousness from there all the way down through your upper legs, your lower legs, into the feet. And now taking another breath, bringing your palms together right in front of your heart, putting your feet on the floor, and on the next, let's inhale for 12, hold for 12, and on the exhale, through your mouth, and just pushing together, push the feet to the floor, the palms together to integrate all of these activations. And the funnest thing is now you can go beyond your creator source intelligence. You can go beyond central sun intelligence. Now you can go beyond this whole universe and beyond to all the pathways, all the portals that go from universe to universe to universe to universe to universe. But the part I love is your realms of light, which you exist in between the universes. That's your natural state. That's your natural being. That's what I would call home. Now, let's take that to heart for a moment. And it says, welcome in your higher levels, your creator levels, your manifest levels right now. To speak through you, stir you, and journey you, and to take command of your soul, your life, your work, your wealth, your mind, your body, your world. And this is where the fun begins, because you'll start to get a creative ideal. You say, all right, man, thank you, let's go. Let it present. Let the people present to be a part of it. And I'm just going to look at this. I might become attached to it, but I'm giving it a thumbs up. Because once you start to hook into it and bite into it, it's going to be like tug of war everywhere. You as creator, let's remember who you are right now. You as creator are saying, awesome, bring it on. Because remember, it's not some outside deity. It's you communicating with you that says, hey, Michael, would you like this? Hey, Mary Elizabeth, would you like that? Hey, William David, would you like this? Would you like that? Would you like this? Would you like this? Would you like that? Hello, Claudette Lupian, would you like that? And Elizabeth, would you like that? Sharon, would you like that? And this is you dancing with all that is. Alan, would you like this? Sheila, would you like that? Great, bring it on, let it present. And I will walk through the door when the door shows up. You know, and it's one of these things, right? All right, there's the doorway. My only agreement is to walk through the doorway to experience what's on the other side. Let's forget what the doorway looks like. Let's not let the ego get involved, because one door leads to another door, 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 all of your liking. But we've got to start somewhere. All right, Mr. Michael.
All right, William. And when you tune into the group that's virtually with us here today,
At the Wish Foundation, yeah.
and also all the participants, And you're talking about practically embodying the divine self and marrying these extremes of our off-planet self and our on-planet body self.
Yeah.
What else additionally would you share to assist people to embody their divine self?
Like, what do you mean?
What other tools? What other?
Yeah, that was a major tool right there, where you're not separate from, you're not playing with the separation from you, as let's just say, make you into the marriage of the higher and the lower, the Star of Bethlehem, the marriage of your higher, swinging down, picking up the lower. It's not about religion. It's about the Christmas star, Star of Bethlehem, the marriage. Now, let's bring that right here, right now, just right into within and through the heart. You are already are that you are. So let's bring it all the way in. Because the other part here, you got to remember, many are traveling the vortexes all over the planet. Hey, great, more power to you. Go to power places, whatever you want to. But let's not forget, here's your heart. And within your heart, and within your whole being, you're picking up the solar plexus, you're picking up the creator chakra vortex, you're picking up the root chakra vortex. You're transcending it all right back through the heart. You're bringing the rest of you down through the rest of the embodiment. So where that's concerned, you're actually, hands down, becoming the vortex of love, of consciousness that you already are. But now we're going absolute and we're going direct. Now, we walk through society, we do this, we do that, we go over here, go over there. Different things occur. Maybe someone calls you a name, or maybe one of my favorites is being in traffic. And Billy Bob and the goat roper say, hey, your lane is better than my lane, so I'm going to come in front of your car and I'm going to make my way into your lane. And you may say, oh, okay, well, more power to you. You must be more of a hurry than I am. You're going to try to go around. And they're going to decide that their lane was better the whole time. Now, how would you handle that? Because obviously, they must be in a bigger journey than you are to get to the stop sign and more of a panic. But right now, how best can we sit right here? Say, tell you what, man, I'm in a car on this, it's kind of funny. I'm in a vehicle on this planet, heading from point A to point B. And hey, if you find your car vehicle and your journey is more important than my journey, hey, knock yourself out. But then again, it brings us all the way back to it is not about me. It's not personal. It's just one dear brother's on a journey, another dear one's on a journey. One's going this way, one's going that way, one's going all over the map, one's going up and down, back and forth, on and on and on. But here you are, as consciousness, deciding, you know what? Me being in my vehicle and my vehicle being in that vehicle, what does it really matter? We're still getting from point A to point B. Well, if another one got a promotion, blah, 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 great. How blessed it is, great. They're going to be exposed and maybe eventually that spot's going to open for you. And I always look at it within reality, the truth of the matter. Every single time that's occurred, another opportunity much more fulfilling shows up. Does that better clarify that, Mike?
Yeah.
Michael.
And with
Just leave that.
the walk-in experience, I can imagine there's many different. You had your experience. What are some of the other experiences you're aware of with your clients and otherwise that have different ways of manifesting themselves?
Like, what do you mean?
Different ways of, embodying their divine self? Different challenges, different.
Yeah, some run into powers of authority and butt heads with them. Others, they run into, I always feel like an outsider. And that's a big one, especially in the family monad. My parents love Billy, Bob, Susie, and Roxanne, but I'm always over here in the corner. My parents, they favored my little brother, bigger brother, sister, blah, 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 or maybe just favored the males in the family and you happen to have a female structure. Okay. It is what it is. It's so darn easy, to take things personal. A big question I'm constantly asking, well, Will, I'm on this journey of awakenment, but I look around and all these people that are obviously asleep, they're getting promotions, they have more money, they have better cars, they dress better, and that's what I really want. Well, it's one of those things where, okay, everything, the universe is neutral. So it's not them, it's not you. But yeah, they may have better cars, they may have more money in the bank, they may have more clients, blah, blah, blah. But let's really bring it back to yourself for a moment. All of that looks appetizing, teasing, whatever it may be. But when it comes back to it, the simplest answer is how best can I assist the dear one right in front of me? All of that stuff's available. You don't got to try to grasp and bite into on and on and on. Does it mean they're more advanced? No, but who cares? This isn't the Enlightenment Olympics. We're not playing with who's further than who, and my soul is your second brother's cousin to your mom's puppy dog. Now, where we step out of all the competitiveness, because competitiveness belonged way down there again, through the solar plexus down. How can anyone compete with the love that you emanate? There's no competition here. Some dear ones, yes, maybe further along than others. How blessed we are, but how blessed are the ones that at any moment can wake up and accelerate past you. That's a real ding to the spiritual ego. But in all reality, we're not here to create a following. We're here to emanate divinity. Because that's where, if you want to succeed, focus on the dear one's heart right in front of you. And I'm talking about corporate America, corporate Japan, corporate UK, corporate England, everywhere else on the planet, Africa, Asia, Australia. Focus on the dear one in front of you. Now let's all ask ourselves a question. How many years have you been in the same employment, or maybe just, not just, wow, one of the most important jobs is being a house mother. A mother stays at home, maybe the mom, maybe the dad. Those are, if you ask me, those are the higher echelons of jobs. Because you have these beautiful little ones that you're assisting, you're facilitating daily that are going to make a major impact in the rest of the world. Does it mean you're less than? Oh my goodness, no, you're the ones that deserve the Oscars. Now from here, let's go into the CEOs, the CFOs, and all the C's and O's. Now from here, they're all just different echelons of an organization. Now, if I'm a janitor, I'm going to clean the dickens out of those toilets. They're going to be the shiniest ones people won't even want to sit on. I did that at Target for several days. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to put my heart into whatever I have in front of me, which once again is that doorway right in front of me. And the more I put my heart into it, I'm not going to put my heart into the hiney of someone. I don't want to say I have a limitation, I just have preferences. But if I was a proctologist, that's the first place, bend over and cough, I would be going. Okay, now it's the funniest thing, right? Because proctology, you start at the bottom, you never move up. But from here, it's where you get to take a breath and have a blast with how best can I assist this dear one to feel cared about, to feel loved. How best can I open up the heart of another, not as a job. How best can I show this dear one how much they truly matter? Because this may be the only time in their life stream they're ever going to experience mattering until they wake up. How best can I assist this dear one over here to look at things with clarity, rather than clarity from the third eye, from your physical eyes through your heart, not the lower levels, because remember, from here down, these are your lower levels. That's where all the emotions and all the buildup, all the angst, the anger, blah, blah, blah. Now, it may manifest in different areas of your body, but all of it resolves in your carnal levels. Survival of the fittest. Am I will I, the tormentors of the mind? Am I will I did the right thing? And all these tormentors and the other belief systems, core belief systems, that pain is bad, comfort is good, the point of life is to be undisturbed. That's where we become like a lot of Archie Bunkers sitting on the sofa, rah, 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 and doing all this stuff with Ethel. I mean, who knows what they do behind closed doors, but I don't need that. Okay, so from here, it's one of those things, right? What about looking all around us? How best can I light up this room? Not as a job, not as a purpose, but because it feels great and you feel great through your body when you are doing that and you're expanding. Because I would have each and every one expand beyond the body, because you already are that you are, then expanding into and throughout the room. So when we have a few moments left, let's just all take another breath. In through the nose, all the way down into your crater chakra level vortex. Exhaling through the mouth for the count of 12. Or if you can, inhale for 12 and hold for 12, great. Let's just do it to whatever your comfort is. Now, let's do it again. Inhale, hold. Now on this exhale, let's turn ourselves from here to there. Let's let ourselves just fill up the whole space all around ourselves. Let's take another inhale. Let's fill up the space further than our space all around us. If you're at home, let's fill up your home. If you're at your office, let's fill up the office. If you're in your car, great, let's fill up the neighborhood. And I want to be clear, you're not picking up on other dear ones' debris. You're lighting it up from you, emanating exponentially to collapse the debris. When we're opening up here from our heart level, from your central column as well, no need to be in fear of picking up others' issues. You're not absorbing. That only happens when you're playing energy games with dear ones. I'm up here, you're down there, and blah, 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 blah. And let's just go ahead and just emanate all that light. You're unique at light, you're unique at signatures, you're unique at rungs of honor, you're unique at vibrational frequencies and tones as creator, expressing through the physical makeup, all the way now through the provinces, through the cities, through the states, through the countries, letting yourself just emanate more and more until eventually, I would say, let's just you and I right now, let's make it all about 935 feet. Let's just find a comfort there, a familiarity there. Knowing full well that you're purifying, you're divinitizing, and you're activating and amplifying all these dear ones that cross that land, even those that have ever crossed that land. You're lighting them up, you're affecting them from the outside in and their higher levels from their inside out, using this as a beautiful state that starts collapsing all the ego walls, starts collapsing all the ego barriers, starts collapsing all the rigmarole, all that, I'm a this, you're that, blah, 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 blah. I'm not worthy, I am worthy, to where it collapses all of that, to where you just are once again. Because you as creator, you have to really take that to heart. And this is where I do want you to use your mind. You as creator of all that is, you were there, we all were there. When form was originally created, when creator itself, you being a facet of it, decided to split yourself off to expand and learn more about yourself. So I could look at Michael and say, well, there's creator holding a camera. My angel across the room, there's creator holding down a chair, keeping it from levitating and petting the kitty cats. But it's still creator. There's my mom, my dad, my sister, brother, blah, blah, blah. Whether you like it or not like it, they're still creator. So right now, let's all just be creator right here, right now, cleared and purified. None of their stuff has anything to do with you. It's not about me. let's just really do our best for a moment, just to see all these facets of creator as the facets of creator. The president, the prime minister, the queen, on and on and on. Great. They're all no more, no less than a facet of creator. And what I love here is that we're going here and we're expanding, larger and larger, more and more amplified. Nothing's coming in because you're expanding. When you're expanding, nothing can come in. When you pull back, yeah, that's when you start to magnetically pull stuff into you. We're taking a breath, be gone, be gone, be gone. And then we go beyond that for a moment to where we become more aware of what I would call polarities, dualities. Love, hate, unconditional love, conditional love, good, bad, right, wrong, up, down, right, left. Can you find anything except for yourself, that doesn't have an opposite polarity? This right here is where you belong. We rewrite that line so it's more visible. You're here. In your body on this planet, emanating, expanding wider and wider, more and more amplified. And it looks like you're doing the jitterbug. Now here, we'll call this positive. This right here, negative. Still, these are both two totally diverse pathways. One feels better than the other, so positive, yeah, it's going to increase your vibratory levels, obviously. Because over here, you're going to feel more solid, more sluggish, more dense. But I don't want to make a mistake about it, though. You belong right there. We can call it neutrality. We can call it isness. We can give it all these fancy names. Eventually, you'll go into nirvana, and it's a real bummer about Kurt Cobain, but you'll go into nirvana, you'll reach higher states of consciousness, bliss, blah, blah, blah. But then you bring it down through your body, because remember, you cannot experience bliss if you don't have a body. It's a fact. You don't have anything to feel with. So let's all for a moment to step back. And as we do, let's just look at the miraculousness of even having a body on the planet at this moment in time. Now we have choice. Are we going to play over here? Are we going to play over there? Or are we going to go direct? And thank you so much. This has been an awesome blast and an honor. So namaste, and let's all have a blast.
Yeah, and Sheila, Alan, or Neil, I think there's time for any additional questions.
Sure. Now let's see. Okay. In the chat, does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask? I don't see any of the hands raised. Hello, everyone. Let's see. Well, William, I think that you did such a fantastic job in explaining this. That was awesome. And thank you for sharing your story in depth. I didn't know the depth of that story.
Oh, it was truly an honor and a blast. It's quite the ride.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
You know what I wanted to just ask, and you brought it out, and maybe I'll actually also ask it on the panel, is that walk-ins seem to have a different relationship to the human body in general.
Totally.
Talk about that, because most people don't have that sort of connection, that same connection.
Yeah, well, what happens is that so many dear ones, they get so personally all the way through the womb, through the soul level. So if I'm going to do the soul level here, let's just put the soul level right here, right to the left of the solar plexus.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have all this stuff you're seeing, all this stuff you're presenting with, all this stuff you're being shared, you're being told, and all this stuff that goes back full circle to have you embody how to function in a body on a planet and then you take on all the realizations, like for some in the womb, their parents, they love them in their own way, but they wanted a boy, not a girl. They wanted a girl, not a boy. They didn't want to be pregnant in the first place. They were terrified. Well, you start storing all this stuff from the soul level into the physical embodiment. And the more that you're storing, the more that you're buying into, like, don't run in the street, danger. Yeah, it's like a whoosh, a huge tidal wave, a huge tsunami hitting you back and creating that rigid fear that says, oh my goodness, I am now vulnerable. I'm harmable. My body's breakable. And it's so interesting, Alan, because that just becomes deeper and deeper and deeper, more and more ingrained. And where now we're playing with life and death, which goes back here to the adrenals. But then the soul level has made this decision that this is either good, this is either bad. So it goes through the subconscious, through the emotional calibrational labs work, through the soul level of consciousness. And now it becomes a factual reality that's stored in your Akashic record realm. So every time you do something that you've considered to be bad or good, it's being embodied, taken in the cells that are normally spiraling so quick, and even through the atoms here, they're spiraling. But what happens is they start becoming more and more sluggish, more and more heavy, and slower and slower and slower until eventually what happens is they start growing or gathering more so crustaceans all around the cells. And then these crustaceans you take in to be reality, etc. And now we have a whole different program playing out in your body. And now we're running around with, my body's fragile. Don't do this, don't do that. Got to be this, got to be that. And now we have the forming of the perceptional self-esteem, which I'll call the ego levels.
Yeah.
Because the self-esteem, on one hand, it's beautiful to know that it's more like a knowing, not a belief, knowing that you're all that is. But then there's a belief system that says, well, I should be this, I must be that. If I'm all that is, I gotta, I don't know, sit on a throne somewhere or wear a crown and all this other stuff. But now we get into all those images, even then we go from there, and we take all this stuff into your incarnational states, one life, another life, trying to wake up to that sluggishness and no longer letting it run your life stream or your reality. Yeah. Or what you think or how you feel in your body. So it goes through the soul level, and then eventually you as your higher levels come in, you clear out the soul level, clearing out the Akashic record realms, clearing out the emotional bodies and the pain bodies, coming right in to clear out the subconscious. And then that's when we talk about, you hear so much about, okay, let's be conscious. Well, how about let's step out of space and time, let's be with you. Does that better answer that, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, what I get is that the walk-in is not as concerned with life and death and the body, but also has to deal with the conditionings that the body has taken on, and I think has a bigger perspective on the whole consciousness evolution. Does that make sense?
Totally. And then the other part of it is when you walk into a body, part of the agreement with walking in the body would be to clear out all the fear, all the mishaps, all the hangups that the old being before you had bought into. Part of that is the cleansing of the body. And the more you're cleansing the body, the more you're finding you have a body, you have a mind, but then there's you.
But how do you cleanse the body? How do you go through those fear programs?
Yeah, so right now we take a breath and we say, all right, big guns, for the rest of myself, show me what, when and where these stagnations in my body are taking place. Let's just start with something simple. Let's start with the liver. So we go into the liver. All right, body. All right, creator consciousess, the rest of myself. What is going on with this liver? How can we vibrate it faster? And now show me. And now, right now, instantaneously, what's the first thought, the first picture, the first vision, or the first memory that arises for you?
Right. Whatever that may be, anger that could be stuck there, right?
Yeah, anger, fear, rage.
Right.
Then we go to the kidneys. Okay, my kidneys, either they feel great or they don't feel great, but unless they're vibrating at the speed of light, you know there's debris there. So right now, let's just ask the kidney, what are you storing, my good friend? Show me. And once again, what's the first picture, the first image, the first glimpse, the first vision? They're not good or bad.
Right.
And that's the last place you want to go with them. And it can be fear, it can be guilt, it could be overwhelming burden, frustration, deep-seated fear. You know, all these things that arise for you in the specific organs. If my body has a blemish, or say it has psoriasis, great, body. Let's sit back for a minute. Let's not judge the psoriasis. It is what it is. Let's just take a breath. Say, everybody, you know, what is going on here? Why is it you continue to create this symptomology? Right now, we're learning to communicate with your body, or you may get a vision or a picture, a memory. You say, I don't know. So we stand right here. We take a breath. My name is Will. My name is Mary Elizabeth. Okay, great. Now I know a yes and a no from my body. Body, does this involve our father? Does this involve the mother? Does this involve age 1 or less? Does this involve age 5 or less? Does this involve age 15 or less? So now we're narrowing it down to the year.
Right.
Was this, because now we're going to start getting these pictures, Christmas dinner or something at school, on and on and on. And it's not so much the body tilting, it's not the pendulum, it's more so kinesthetics.
Yeah.
Your body's never going to tell you stories, Alan. Your
Right.
body wants to be free of it, but it's following your orders because you're given it from the mental, emotional levels. Do we get right to the cause, core, record, and effect of it? And this is something that you do, right? When you get to the cause, core, the record effect, maybe it was a very scary evening and thunder and no one was there for you. It could be anything and everything. For everyone, it's always, always, always individual. And then we sit there, we sit with what's presenting for you. Now we do the tougher part. We look for the benefit of how that decision that was made at that time, how it has benefited you through your life, creating of the self-esteem, creating of taboos, maybe guilt is the cause. So great, what does guilt do for you? It makes you a better person because you never want to experience that emotion. Therefore, you do things differently, for sometimes more of the higher of integrity thing. So you never have to sit and feel that guilt ever again. And on one part, yeah, you're running from guilt. The other benefit is that, yeah, it's made me a better person. Now, let's look back at the guilt. And then we say, show me the whole truth. We look for the benefit of that situation that made you a better person. That's a huge benefit, just so you never experience guilt ever again. But then now, because we're finding the benefit, the guilt can start coming up, bubbling up and leaving because it's no longer being stored and hidden away.
Right.
Kind of like
So the benefits are what's been stored up and the lessons and the and what we overcome in order to come back into balance and oneness, which is
and how it's helped you to get to where you're at right now.
right. Right. So we have a lot of stuff stored in there to work through, or we don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would encourage everyone, Ellen, you know, the last thing I would ever want to come across with is making it a job. Now that we're aware, things are going to present for you when and as necessary when it's affecting your life stream.
Right.
Because, and the reason I'm putting it this way, Alan, is because I watch so many, they wake up, but then they go into a whole nother journey of work, and they forget to live.
Right. I agree with that. It's workshop and this and that, but yeah. So what would you want to leave us with until the panel in order to kind of contemplate about our journey forward?
Number one, to start to really practicalize, when you're looking at another facet of creator, you're looking at them, but then separating it from them to now you're watching their actions, but their actions aren't really about them. They are their actions.
Right. Yes. So when you're watching someone else and observing their actions, it's not to make judgments. It's just to, how would you put it another way then?
I would say bring back your sense of wonder. They weren't born like that. What has got them to the point that they are now relating to that action as a way to project because of the fear that they have inside?
And as we let go of fear completely as a human race, that seems to be a real kickoff place in our evolution as cosmic beings.
Oh, completely, totally, completely.
Right. Well,
where the cosmos start to become your new reality, but while you're in the body on the planet.
Which would be what? What would be the reason for being in the body on the planet ultimately?
Where we can walk through Manhattan or downtown New York, walk down the strips, everything like that. With that sense of wonder where we're totally wide open and expanded without the buildings closing in around you.
Yeah, in wonder, in appreciation, in gratitude, in love, and then we enter a new universe, a new reality, a new.
Yeah. And that's that sense of amazement.
Mm-hmm. And a humanity that lives like that is what is possible, I think, for the planet. I do.
Totally and completely.
Thank you. Thank you for that inspiration. So hopefully you'll join us. If people want to find you, how do they find you on your?
They find me at William Linville. So that's WILLIAM. Linville, LIN as in Nancy, V as in Victoria, ILLE.com.
Thank you for putting all this thought and time into this presentation. I would say it's sort of like the perfect forum for what your journey's been about, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been amazing, amazing. Never a dull moment.
Right. Sheila, what were you going to say?
I was just going to thank him again for coming and sharing with us. It's been phenomenal to see how each speaker is bringing through totally different information and how their walk-in process of incarnating as well as how they're bringing forward their mission on this planet and what they're doing to help change all of our consciousness. So I'm really excited to continue this journey, and thank you for helping us with that.
Oh, and thank you. And one last thing is honoring that you're the master of love. You're the master of divinity in which you've been seeking for. So congratulations to everyone.
Beautiful. Well, we hope you'll join us tonight on the panel.
Yes.
I'm so excited about it.
Good,
Awesome.
good. I think it'll be a great cross discussion with people from different perspectives, but all with the same understanding of a bigger reality. So
Exactly.
yeah, great.
All of it serves big time.
Definitely. This is very interesting. Thank you, William, for your time today.
And thank you, Alan and Sheila, and thank you everybody for being a part of it. And we sure love you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you.
We will see William later. Thank you. Later.